Hey guys, welcome back to the Hill Homestead. So on today's video, it is a Saturday morning here in West Virginia, and it is a very windy Saturday morning. So hopefully the wind will not play a big factor in today's audio, but today we are going to go look at some fencing here on the property. If you refer back to an older video, I talked about some fence problems that we were having caused by a lightning bolt. And at the end of that video, I had mentioned that there was another problem that I had found while fixing that fence, but I did not realize the extent of that issue until I actually walked all the way out and saw the effects of that lightning bolt and what it had on our fence further down the line. So, but right now, first things first, animals need fed, so Des and I are gonna walk around and knock out some chores. Then we are going to take the tractor and the four-wheeler loaded down with all the materials that we might need out to where we are going to fix this fence, and we will walk you through our plan for that. All right, so some things that we might need for this job, I've laid out here on the four-wheeler. One of them being this fencing tool, a level, digging bar, our post hole digger, spade shovel, chain, crimping tool, fence tightener, hammer, and fence staples. And then some of the high tensile crimping pieces, as well as our fence tester, because getting shocked by a fence is never fun. All right, so now that we've made it up to the site of the issue, let me show you what we've got going on up here. So as you can see, the posts were blown in half. The lightning bolt, that just must have been where it came out, must have hit the wood there, and it just exploded 3 of them. I'm thankful that it didn't catch our hillside on fire or anything like that. With the rain, you know, that must have helped out. But not only did it blow the fence posts in half, but it blew every single line that we had attached. Blew all 6 of them apart as well. So that's going to be part of the fixing process today, hopefully. So what Des is doing is she's going to take our fencing tool and she's just going to work these staples out, as well as pop the rest of this line off, and also maybe get some thorns in her hand while she's at it. Gloves would be helpful. Good thing I've got a pair. But so that way we don't break any more lines that may or may not be broken, and cause any more damage. So I was wrong. 5 of the 6 lines are burnt and busted. So the 6th line is the bottom line, and it is far too tight for us to pop out the staples on this one. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is cut this one as well and just fix all 6 lines. But something else I wanted to show you guys, it's neat in a way, is that when that lightning hit, it burnt this line. I don't know if you guys can see the discoloration from this line to this line, but it completely fried this line right here. And let's go down here and show them this does. And one of the connectors is melted right here. It got so hot that it melted the connector on the fence. All right, so our plan of attack here is we have that chain, and I call it a choker chain. I don't know if that's what it's actually called, but it's got a loop on the end of it. I'm going to wrap that around the pole where I can get a bite and hook it to the hay spear, and hopefully as I pull up, it'll tighten that chain up and it'll pull the post out of the ground. Again, this tractor being a new tractor, I'm not sure of its capabilities yet as far as what it'll do with these fence posts. So we're gonna learn together. You guys are gonna see it regardless on whether it pulls it out or not. And I do have a backup plan if it doesn't, but we're definitely gonna try this first. All right, so I'm gonna take the loop, run this side through it. Hopefully this will tighten up, and I'm gonna throw this around the bucket, or well, the hay spear here. And I keep getting stabbed by these briars. I should have brought a weed eater. Clear this off also. All right. All right, so we're gonna attempt to just slide this. It's an old post, but I'm new to this hole. It's like a used car. Into this hole. Hopefully it fits. If not, that's why we brought the tools to dig it out. But we will see. Let's see if the other end fits a little bit better. Might have a little bit more room in there, maybe tap it with the tractor. We'll see. So what I learned from the last one is what I should have known from the beginning, is the fact that I need to push these things around a little bit, loosen them up, and then I'll be able to pull them out. I was kind of curious anyway to see if my tractor would just pull it up, but obviously it needed a little bit of help, but that's all right. So this one, we're gonna wrap the chain around it, do a little pushing back and forth on it, get it loosened up in the ground, and yank it up out of the ground. So we were able to actually reuse that third post. We just pulled it out and flipped it around, and the bottom was still good. So the bottom is now the top. But this hole, some dirt fell back into it. We might have to widen it out a little bit. So we're gonna use the post hole digger and pull out some dirt and hopefully fit this new pole in, but we'll see. All right, so now that we've got it dug out a little bit, we're gonna see if this one fits. And as you can tell, this one's much taller. So I already know that I'm gonna have to come back with the chainsaw and cut it off level with the rest of these poles. But right now, we're just worried about it fitting. That way we can put the fence back up. All right, so now we're gonna backfill the hole a little bit and tighten it up. All right, so Des is gonna find a level spot, and I'm just gonna kind of fill around and then tamp it in. All right, so that one is level. Not the sturdiest thing in the world, but I don't think our cows are gonna be leaning on an electric fence. The biggest issue we have with our fence being down are deer. Deer try to jump through the fence and knock them off the insulators and shorten out the fence all the time. But this is just a fence that separates two different pastures. Realistically, this could have waited, but the problem is with this fence being down, it shorts out the entire property. Actually, there's some parts of the property right now that don't even have electric on it. So thankfully we have really good cows that don't really test the fence, and they're content where they're at. So they don't typically try to get out, thankfully. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is take this fence tightener and actually loosen up what I've got. We do have a little bit of play left in these tensioners, tighteners, whatever you want to call them. So I'm going to use what little bit of extra we've got here and see if that will reach, so I can put these lines back together. So hopefully I won't have to go back up and bring new wire down to connect them, but if I do, then so be it. So these kind of work like a ratchet strap. So you've got this piece right here that goes across, that is what is used to tighten it up. So in order to loosen it up, you just pull this over and pull this little metal piece back like so, and it loosens it up so you can freely spin it and pull out any extra line that you need. All right, so if you know anything about high tensile wire, loosening it up, I should have known better, it's not going to do anything. There's just simply not enough line. So I had to go up and get some extra that we had to cut and repair this line. We're going to crimp it together and hope it stays. And here's another melted insulator. Well, we were going to replace it anyway, but that's the damage that this lightning bolt has done to our fence. You guys good? Brush you off. Wind just knocked you down. Back to it. All right, so we finally finished crimping everything, and now it's just time to tidy it up. I'm gonna tighten it up and hope that the crimps hold. But everything's flipped back forward on this one. We're gonna hope that it does not break what we just did. But if it does, we have more line and we have more crimping options here. So this is just going to be the process of making sure the fence is tight. I've already got it messed up here. Gotta be careful. You see how that kind of just wrapped underneath of it? Gotta make sure it all stays in the center here. So I gotta loosen it back up without pinching my fingers and get this fence back on around it. All right. Now we're back on track. Let's flip back down. It's not wanting to stay. There we go. So far so good. There's going to be a lot to tighten up here because of how much slack we gave it down on the other end. We're getting there. Like I say, this is more or less just a barrier for them. We don't really use this divider for anything that's dividing field, but we like to keep it the way it was in case we ever do decide to come up with a different process for moving animals and utilize each field for something. All right, I think that's tight enough for this one. So we're gonna go down the list, or go down the line, and we're gonna tighten up each strand. So we just finished fixing this fence. It took a lot longer than what I thought it would. The main thing that took the longest was piecing the fence back together. It wasn't pulling out the poles or anything like that, or replacing those. It was just finding how long of a piece of wire we would need and measuring that out and crimping them together. And then after tightening them up, one of the crimps busted and we had to fix that again. But I just went through, put new insulators in on the hot wires, so we should be good to go. We're gonna go back up, we're gonna plug it back in, and this entire field should be electrified once more. With that being said, it is now 1:21. So this took us roughly 4 to 4.5 hours. By the time we got chores done and got, you know, the four-wheeler loaded up, the tractor, you know, good and warm, and we got down here, it took about 4 hours. So we are going to go up and finally eat some food. We have not eaten anything today. So we're gonna go get some lunch, and then maybe we'll see what we can get into this afternoon, this evening. All right, guys, now since we went in, we had our lunch, kind of hung out a little bit, got a little lazy. Took about an hour and a half inside. We're back down here at the barn. We're gonna bring out the show cows and walk them around, let them exercise a little bit, as well as clean them up and clean up their pens too. Put some wood chips down and just give them somewhere a little bit more comfortable to sleep. That way they're not sleeping in their own pee or poop or anything like that. So we like to keep their pens as fresh as possible. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get them out and clean up the muddy spots on them and get them freshened up. All right, so as Des kind of washes them down in the background here, you guys may remember that we used to have 4 show cows. So we've got Major from Major Payne, because Taryn's last name is Payne. And
I'm glad to see you got a sense of humor.
Anyway, then this one right here is Taryn's other one, Liberty. We call her Libby. Or Liberty, whatever. And then the one that we own is Ash. So we had bought 2. One of them was Ash and the other one was Ember. Ember was a registered shorthorn, and Ember walked just fine in the ring, and she was very appealing because she was registered. She was a very pretty calf, but when we brought her here, I don't know if it was something about this place or what it was, but we could not get her to calm down. Every time we went to get her, it was a game of chase. We had to chase her down. We had to you know, basically box her in order to grab a hold of her halter. We kept the halter on her face because it took us a long time just to catch her in the smaller pens when we were just getting them used to us, getting them to know where the barn was, the water trough, things like that. But after a couple weeks of chasing her, she ended up breaking through the fences one time, and I had to bring her back in from the big field. You know, that's not something that we wanted around here, so we made the decision to go ahead and move on from her and sell her. So we are down to 3, which as far as the feed bill goes, that is great. But these 3 are right up our alley, and you know, other than their spurts of running from us, playing when they get into an open field, and being hard to catch, these guys have been pretty fun and pretty easy to work with. So we're gonna work with them a little bit and show you guys some of that. So in the last video, we talked about how it's kind of wasteful for our pigs, you know, feed pigs on the ground, stuff like that. But as well as our steer, this Terran steer, he likes to flip his bucket over. He sometimes eats it off the ground, but most of the time he does not. And that is eaten by the chickens. The chickens will go in there and they'll clean it up for him. But it's important that he gets all that feed for his weight gain. So what I'm going to work on this evening is building him a little trough. And what I'm going to do is, we have these old barrels laying around, and what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to cut this in half, and I think I'm going to frame around it and make it a trough. So that way we'll make 2 troughs out of 1 barrel, and then we'll either use the other half and try to frame something up for the pigs that'll be a little bit more durable than those little totes that we've been giving them, because that one is already destroyed. Maybe framing it up and running some rebar through it and putting it in the ground, so that way it's less likely for them to break it as quickly. So I'm gonna get started on cutting this in half, and we'll see what we can get done this evening. So as you can see, this line right here kind of runs all over, all the way down. So I'm going to use that as a point to follow, and hopefully I can stay on that line, but definitely no promises. This whole straight line thing is not working out for me. right, so obviously not the straightest of lines, but I think it'll work out just fine. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna build a frame around the outside to fit it, and I'm gonna screw this plastic into 2x4s that are framing it and elevate it off the ground, so that way it's at a comfortable height for him to eat out of. And hopefully this will eliminate some waste. What I also may do is mount the frame to the barn wall, so that way there is no chance of him flipping it or getting excited and potentially breaking it. So we'll get started on the framing, and you guys can follow along. All right, so welcome into my horribly disastrous garage. I'm just in here for a couple minutes to be able to cut some of this. My measurements, I came up with 39 inches long, and then the tops and the bottom would be about 23 and a half inches wide. So I'm gonna make a couple cuts and screw them together, make the frame, and we'll go out there and piece it all together. All right, so the frame, I'm just using these 2.5 inch star bit wood screws. So get this thing put together. So there's the frame of the trough. Hopefully that's stable enough, but just in case, I'm still gonna tie it to a gate. I looked through the barn, there's really not a great spot to drill this into a wall, but we'll drop the trough in here and get the trough drilled to the wood, and we'll see how he does with it. Now I will say the screws probably aren't completely necessary. It's more of a precautionary thing, just in case he were to somehow pop it up out of here. But hopefully this makes it last long. All right, I'm sure that is overly secure. And I probably overused these 1.5 inch screws, but that's okay. I'd rather be safe than sorry. I already had these 2x4s on hand and had this barrel on the property as well. So, I mean, with the exception of the 2x4s and what I have in the wood screws, which I don't even remember when I bought these, so they've been laying around. I didn't have to go anywhere to build this today, and hopefully it lasts us for a couple different project steers, or if we, you know, don't do steers anymore, then I'm sure we could find another use for this specific feeder. So let's go in the barn and get it rigged up to the fence and see how solid we can get it. So I just secured the boards to this fence back here using some electric wire. I swear, if you were to watch our video today for the first time, you would think this is a sponsored video by some line company, but I promise it is not. Between baling twine and electrical wire for fencing, that is one of the most handy things that you can use on a farm. I'll live and die by it. It's like duct tape and WD-40. It's just something you can always find a use for. All right, guys, so this is gonna wrap up the video. As you can see, this was not a weekly video. We actually got to do stuff today because we were both here. We weren't out of town. We didn't have errands to run. So we had a full day of projects that we could actually work on. We got a chicken here in the background eating. But anyway, the fencing project was something that definitely needed done. And then the trough project was, you know, something kind of random, but hindsight 2020, it also needed done. On a side note, we are aware that Monday starts rifle season here in West Virginia. So if you are a hunter and you watch this channel, best of luck to you. I hope you have more luck than other people who don't watch this channel. So if they want our luck, which not saying we have a lot, have them come check us out and watch our videos. But in all seriousness, stay safe and the best of luck to each and every one of you. But like I say, I think it's gonna wrap this up. If this is your first time watching our videos, go check out some old ones. There's a lot of, you know, cow videos. We talk about the pigs, a little bit about chickens. You might learn something. Hopefully we can teach you something along the way. And if there's something you don't know, leave it in the comments and maybe we can answer it for you and give you some of our own experiences and some knowledge that we might know about the subject. But with that being said, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And thank you guys for hanging out with us.